Hi guys, so the day seems to get worse and worse for Boris Johnson. The party is splitting. Some are calling for him to remain, some are calling for him to leave. Jeremy Hunt, the former health secretary, has thrown his hat into the ring once again. He ran against Johnson back in 2019 for the leadership role. And it just seems to be getting worse. Now we have this letter from John Penrose MP. He is the Prime Minister's anti-corruption czar or champion. Boris Johnson has an anti-corruption champion. That's news to most people. But he has decided he's going to resign, and he's called on the Prime Minister to do so too. And he's sent this letter to Boris Johnson. I'm not going to read all of it, just the main paragraph. It says here, "My reason for stepping down is your public letter last week replying to your independent advisor on the ministerial code about the recent Sugray report into Partygate. In it, you addressed the concerns over the fixed penalty notice you paid, but not the broader and very serious criticisms, what the report called failures of leadership and judgment, and its conclusion that senior leadership at the centre, both political and official, must bear responsibility for this culture." Yes, so that was the main part of Sugray's report, that she didn't call for Boris Johnson to resign, but she said that there were failures of government, failures of leadership and judgment at the top, both from politicians and from officials, members of the civil service. Goes on to say, "You will know, and your letter to your advisor on the ministerial code explicitly says that the Nolan principles of public life are absolutely central to the ministerial code, and that the seventh of them, leadership. So the only fair conclusion to draw from the Sugray report is that you have breached a fundamental principle of the ministerial code, a clear resigning matter." So he's calling for Boris Johnson to resign here. "But your letter to your independent advisor on the ministerial code ignores this central, non-negotiable issue completely. And if it had addressed it, it's hard to see how it could have reached any other conclusion that you have broken the code." So he's asking for Boris Johnson to resign here. He is resigning. He's asking for Boris Johnson to resign. "You have broken the code. You have to go." This is probably the most damning. You have Tory MPs calling for Johnson to go. You have commentators. You have supporters. You have some, of course, asking for him to remain. But as I said before, there is this idea that you have to show the party that you're on side, and you will, support the Prime Minister right up to the moment that it's clear that he's going, and then everyone would pile in and say, yes, it was right for him to leave. Now we have to move on. We have to find a new leader, and Boris Johnson will be forgotten about. But this is pretty damning. John Penrose, the anti-corruption champion. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think about all of this. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot.